Okay, it's Nick Dutch back again. One more time. I am a full-time professional tarot reader. That's my job. That's why the content I create here on YouTube at the moment is so crappy, because I'm working full-time and I'm taking up a lot of my time and my energy to service my customers. Now, I've shown you a few other tarot decks I've got, and I wanted to do a video to do a bit of like basic compare and contrast of the energies given off by two different tarot decks. On one side of things, we got the Night Sun Tarot. Okay, with all of its wonderful imagery over on this side of things, and on the other side we've got Old Crow's Book of Thoth Tarot. Okay, now why are these two tarot decks in some respects comparable? Because they have the same structure of the major arcanas. Okay, that's one of the reasons why they're so. That's one of the reasons to get the Night Sun in reality, as well as the fact that I was curious about it. You know, I was just like really curious about the way in which you could put the imagery in. I don't feel comfortable. I still don't feel comfortable with the expression of a lot of the imagery, despite the fact that it's very much a mixed bag. Okay, because on one side of things you've got a lot of references to Judeo-Christian symbolism, but you've also got all kinds of gory, sort of like almost horrific type imagery. And I just wanted to point out that you got the Alpha and the Omega written on the sides of the flap, which comes with the box, which I thought was a nice touch. I think they've actually like put a fair bit of thought into doing this. Although, yeah, I mean, it's a conflict of tensions tarot. It's like that scene from Reservoir Dogs when you've got this guy singing a really happy song whilst cutting someone's ear off. That sort of thing. It's conflict of tensions, because you've got some very high magic and high religious symbolism, and you've also got some very dark, demonic kind of feelings to it, and that's why it's kind of like connects with the vibration of the kind of people who would play around a lot with the Lesser Key of Solomon in their own different ways. But it's not exclusively of that nature. As you can see on this card here, it's got the 777 written on the bottom, so that's a reference to Old Crow and his writings. I've actually got a copy of 777 on my bookshelves, which is just like a connection of different ideas based upon the Kabbalistic tree of life, and the symbolism and God names and so on and so forth from all kinds of different spiritualities. So you can create your own way of generating an energy using magical means, using visualization, using ritual means based upon connecting the ideas, okay, within whichever spirituality you're most comfortable with. And you of course, like with all these things, you have the freedom to disagree. Don't completely deny the whole idea of energies and weird, you know, different layers of the aura having an effect upon the physical. I had an experience recently which was with homeopathy, and natural science doesn't say that homeopathy has any effect at all. This stuff did exactly what it said on the tin, and it blew my mind. I mean, absolutely, this is like really, really effective. So, you know, sometimes you will come across experiences like that which cannot be put down to placebo under any circumstances, and I'm telling you, okay, seriously, it was that really, really weird. There are some readers out there who say that when you shuffle and you deal out your cards when you're doing a spread, then that is an expression in some coarse-grained manner of the energies of what's going on in a person's life. If you think back to one of the videos I did relatively recently when I showed you the calculation, including the reversals of the probability of any three-card combination coming out within a 3-card spread, it was like 3.6 million to 1. Okay, so maybe there is a reason to suspect that there is a connection between the energies of a card and essentially its outcome, taking into account synchronicity, the way the universe is working. I don't know. It's questions upon questions upon questions connected to, you know, the subject of intent and intentionality. All the things I'm reading into radionics, which connects to forms of spiritual healing and dowsing and all that kind of stuff, has some kind of like strange, weird homeopathic connection as well, and maybe that also explains to a certain extent the way in which cards come out in certain forms of reading. I don't know. It's more and more questions, not necessarily hard and fast answers, but you know, it's a question of how could this possibly work. Maybe there's a layer of the aura, a layer of the energy field, the informational level of reality somehow interacting with your intention, your reception and all that kind of stuff to provide an outcome which has some kind of meaning if you were to interpret it deeply enough with enough of a clear, intelligent mind. Right, now I said that's a very long-winded introduction for someone like me who's not a very long-winded person. I'm much more kind of like a succinct to the point kind of person. You should ask some of my customers, you know, I do this stuff, tarot reading, full-time, professional, that's my job. So I started today at about 6 in the morning. It's like coming on to 8 o'clock now, I think, and so, the vast majority of the day has been either taking calls or, waiting between calls for the next customer to come in. It's been quite a hectic day. So this is identical cards from different decks. You got the Fool of the Night Sun, and you got the Fool of the Book of Thoth. Alright? You've got the Emperor of the Night Sun, you got the Emperor of the Book of Thoth. And just think about the fact that these are different artistic expressions, and when we're talking about energy from an artistic point of view, what we're talking about is the thoughts it gives you, the feelings it gives you, the ideas it gives you, the way it makes you feel, how that could connect to a stage in someone's life, a state of someone's mind, what someone is going through. Alright, a situation of something. I mean, when you're watching like a really, really well done play or whatever, that's an artistic expression. Okay, it has an energy based upon how good the actors are, how good the writing is, how good the screenplay or whatever it is, camera angles if it's on TV, and how that all connects to build a picture of an energy. Okay, an emotion, a thought, a feeling, an intention. So that's the same with this type of work of art, which I love so well. But, things can't be black and white and clear cut. If you can think about one expression of the Fool here, brightly coloured, almost psychedelic, very light, very uplifting, very childlike, very playful. And we got another impression of the Fool here. Similar ideas to the ones from tradition. He's got like knapsack on his back and so on and so forth. He's got something covering his face, because in the original Tarot of Marseilles and the Oswald Worth, the Fool's face is on at a jaunty angle, suggesting it's not really his face, it's a mask he's got, covering his perception, his reality, or his ability to see clearly somehow. So this one actually goes back to tradition in some particular respects, which the Book of Thoth does not in the same kind of manner. Okay? We've still got the same idea of a wild animal in the background, but this one looks more like a faithful dog, which for a very dark tarot deck is actually really rather weird. But with this one, it could be a fierce creature, but it does look like it's attacking him somehow. How is that, affecting and connecting with the meaning? Now, the Emperor is in fact a very interesting card in its own right. Okay, because in the original Catholic interpretation, because of course the original European tarot came out of Catholic Christianity, the Emperor was supposed to be a pictorial representation of the man upstairs, okay, God the Father. That's one of the powerful religious interpretations of that particular card in the deck. And we've actually got the Emperor with a Jesus crown of thorns on his head in this particular depiction, which is of course lacking in this one. Instead he has a crown. So the idea of crown, the idea of maybe it's a question of servitude as opposed to rulership, it's being expressed in very different ways. Alright, now we've got ram symbols, we've got ram symbols here on either side going stereo, on either side going stereo, so there is a connection there. But what different type of energy have we got here? We've also got his halo with all kinds of magical names, all kinds of religious, spiritual names, and beautifully expressed. Yeah, angelic names, God names. They've got some of them have suffixes which denote that they are essentially divine names, or names connected to God and therefore the ancient Israelites. Okay, because in the Bible people had names which had a suffix, which would be connected to the tribe and the people and their God. So changing someone's name in those biblical times would in fact have been some kind of blasphemy. So that, I didn't know whether you knew that or not. So I think that that's rather interesting. I mean, this tarot deck is, as I say, a bittersweet symphony. It's full of darkness, it's full of suffering, it's full of grotesques, as well as having some amazingly high level spirituality. I mean, this is the card I mentioned in the previous video. Here we go. There we go. It's got the 7 chakras on it. It's got the 10 spheres of the Tree of Life done Kabbalistically around his body, as if he was chanting and meditating on them for protection. And his body is portrayed as radiating light. So it's got, yes, I've been disturbed by the cat again. It's got this really interesting energy message. And then you get other cards which like just, yeah, okay. You know, which go like towards the world of the weird, and like eyes appearing in strange places, and this, you know, it's just a very weird, fucked up deck, but with this like hidden goodness. But that wasn't what I was trying to do. Today in this video, I'm talking about the ways in which the energies are expressed differently with different tarot decks, with different artists, and what they're trying to do. And Pussy's about to disturb me again. Right, okay. So, can you now see a little bit of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the complexity of the tarot, the complexity of what it's showing, and also the, you know, the vivid ways in which the different artists and different theorists have put together the colours and the symbols to create dramatically different feelings with even the same symbols, with even the same cards, with even, you know, the same stuff going on. You know, I mean, you really can go into this stuff like incredibly deeply, looking at all of the Hebrew letters, the elemental signs, the astrology, and just going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into all the weird fucked up shit that goes on with this stuff. I mean, this is like, it's a meditative exercise. It's not always an exercise of opening up. Sometimes it's a question of like focusing and rethinking, and after a while you do a bit more reading and new signs and new symbols like come out at you, and they all like give you this peculiar, you know, insight, which is just like going to a proper art gallery. I mean, let's just pick out another random one from the Book of Thoth, just to show you like the feelings of what we're talking about. We know the kind of thing the Dark Sun has done, but this is the kind of thing that Crowley Thoth has done. Okay? Again, bright, vivid, colourful. Sense of breaking things down with a prism. You got a rainbow which mirrors the idea of the prism. You got something looking like a chaos sphere-y shaped thing with very deliberate arrows around the edge, talking about different directions. Again, you got your astrology going on there. Not because astrology isn't anything, it's just that astrology is just this extra way of adding symbols and adding meaning and adding depth and adding something to the cards themselves. So, and again, let's pull out another random one from the Night Sun. Well, we definitely got some vivid colours there, but you know, we've got this like strong, bloody serpentine. These aren't just staves; these are serpents. Yeah. Okay. I don't get it. I mean, if you were like, if it was late at night and you were getting stoned and having one of those paranoid moments, then like it would just like, no, you want to put this shit away and go on to nice soft fluffy Aleister Crowley. By comparison, okay, that just shows you something, if you know what I mean. That just fucking shows you something about like, oh dear. This Night Sun Tarot is very, very, very strange. I mean, the more I, you know, look into it, it kind of like compels me. So sitting there on my table, I like dip into it and try and pick more things up from it. And, you know, it's just like, it does something to me. It's got this like awesomeness in its darkness. Yep, you got to have your Tree of Life no matter what. It's got to have your Tree of Life. It's got to be there. And you got to have your angels. Without your angels, you're fucked, okay? You can tell I've been working too hard today, can't you? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this stuff away for now. And I just hope I've given you that extra bit of, like, insight as to why tarot is just so awesome. And I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.